I can't hear anything.
KP.
Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Okay, take these off.
Why?
Because your hair, it's just wild.
I don't think KP cares what his hair looks like, even if it is on tape.
You gotta put
He's just a man with hair.
You gotta put it on
You gotta put it on.
like this. Not like this. Like this.
This episode of Geek Freaks is sponsored by hair. You gotta put it on. Welcome to the Geek Freaks Podcast. Episode number 6 is Too Much Software Hurting Your Business. Guests this week are Madison Bronkin and Kris Peck. Hello.
You're on.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Quick question, Kris Peck. How many softwares? How many softwares? Software?
Software. How much?
many pieces of software?
How much?
How many pieces of software do we use here at Omega?
Lots.
Jesus, that's software is not a word.
No.
All right, that's bullshit. It's a word.
I don't know. I think probably over 20 between all the departments.
20?
At least 20.
Do we count Adobe as separate entities?
I would think so, because it's a suite of programs, but you can get them separately, and one person might
Boom.
use one program, one person might use another.
Marketing's using like a half a dozen themselves.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think marketing does have probably like at least 10.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Including web apps.
Yeah,
I always count those web apps. Never count those web apps.
always count.
We've recently made changes to some of the software we use. That didn't really mean that we got rid of software. I mean, we did, I guess, in some places. But we're also adding software.
Yeah.
We got rid of Asana and went to
Planner.
Tasks.
Yes.
Tasks is separate.
Tasks is separate from Planner.
But it's also integrated.
Yeah.
You can have tasks in Planner.
To-dos.
And then to-dos is separate.
My to-dos are to-dones
Hey, you know.
because I'm
Good for
efficient.
you.
I'm not. I'm just kidding. I probably got the most. We went from Setmore to Microsoft Bookings.
Yes.
Do we like Bookings? Did we talk about this?
It's not bad.
Okay.
It's a little buggy sometimes, syncing with Outlook, but overall it works pretty well. Better
Alright.
than Setmore.
I don't think you got to say that like that. I like Setmore. Yaz HR, we got rid of because we made the common mistake that every company does, and we buy one piece of software to complement another, and then that software does both.
Yeah, because we have Bamboo, so we really didn't need Jazz HR.
I don't remember. I think we got them at the same time. I'm gonna be real. I think we bought them or we started using them at the same time, or very close to the same time. We got Jazz because I was really bad at tracking candidates when they applied for jobs.
That makes sense. And then when you got me, we got rid of it. Because that's my job.
Okay,
I mean, that makes sense.
that's your only job.
No.
All right, let's
Part of my
figure out.
job.
Madison's only job is to track candidates in the systems.
All day long.
We stopped using Harvest recently,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that was not being used appropriately. And you guys didn't like it. And then we stopped using Bright Gauge because the software that we're going to doesn't support Bright Gauge.
Yeah.
I think I said that right. So I bet we probably have 25, if we count Adobe software, pieces of software that we use. I had to think about that one. I was going to say softwares again and just stick to it and write it out.
Good job. You did good.
Thank you. But why do you, I mean, we're technically one employee has a piece of software. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Like
It's crazy to think about.
whether you need that one employee has the sole need for that software.
Yeah, like some of it makes sense. Inventory makes sense. Yaz Bamboo, Yaz HR and Bamboo, that makes sense for her job. But then we have marketing who has like 7 applications. The service desk probably has 10. It's just crazy. Like to think about the way we connect to computers, we can do it 3 or 4 different ways with 3 or 4 different software.
Yeah, and some of those are specific only to Windows or Mac.
So do you think it would make sense for a small, medium business to use like a less is more mindset?
I think particularly when you're growing as a business, it's good to start with less because you don't know exactly what you need. You kind of just need the basics. But as you grow and start seeing more need for more departments, like at first you may not see the need for a marketing department, then you grow into it and you're like, oh, we need all these stuff to provide a marketing toolbox. As you grow, you'll need more and more, but when starting out, you definitely need to go with just the essentials.
And it's important for when people start to know how to use those tools.
Yeah, I think we could do a better job of training everyone on all of the software that we use. Because a problem that we run into is that we bring people in and we do have like 20 plus softwares.
You said it too.
I said it, no. We do have 20 plus software programs.
Pieces of software.
That people need to learn how to use. So it's a lot. And we've got rid of some, so it's a little bit easier, but I think it's still
quite an
training. Yeah, training intensive.
Yeah. And I think the other downfall that we have is since we don't really have a training, it's more like, here's the manual. If you have questions, ask the manual, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? It's rough because then nothing ever fully gets integrated because we're not taking the time to fully integrate it.
Yeah.
And it turns into this half-ass software that we use a little bit of.
Which is why we got rid of Asana.
I used Asana to the fullest.
No one did.
To the richest of its capabilities.
And we already had Planner in our...
We did, but we didn't use it.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of small businesses do. Like Office 365 comes with all those applications, and even ourselves who sells it, distributes it, didn't use the stuff. It's like when I said, let's change and see what's free, that's kind of why the mindset was there, because it's really not free. We pay for it. Do you think the biggest issue is that companies fail to integrate new software, like fully? I mean, think about how long you've worked here. You've been here coming up on a year. I guess we have integrated software in your time, but we've integrated a lot of software in the couple of years you've been here.
Yeah. Always trying something new.
And you've done a lot of them. So now this is going to be maybe criticism on yourself that I'm asking you. Do you think that we do the fullest job we could integrating software?
It depends, I think, on the software we've implemented. I think some we've done a pretty good job of implementing them as much as we can. But overall, I think there's always that few bits of the software where it's like, we could utilize this, but we would need to spend how much time to actually utilize it, and is it worth it to actually utilize it?
I think that's a hard question to ask KP, because KP, when he gets a new software, when you ask him to look into new software, he dives headfirst and really looks into every possible aspect of that software. Where when we kind of implement it across the board, not everyone does that.
Are you talking like the meeting we had on Friday where nobody had any questions about the new software we're going to roll out?
Yes.
Yeah.
But KP's up there like
Wild.
math teacher style. Like,
well, I mean, it goes to
here's
think
this.
that's probably the biggest issue that small, medium-sized businesses have, is that happens, right? There's one person that owns the project that rolls it in. Technically, he's not even supposed to be the one owning it, right? One of our success teams are. But I gave it to him because he's done it enough for me.
He's on that success team now.
You got moved?
He switched
I randomly
over.
got moved to the technical success team.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the technical success team.
So technically, it is still my job.
All right. Well, hey, there you go.
I just made it his job.
But it goes in, like, we had that whole meeting about changing a platform with, I guess you would call the key stakeholders, and there's like, looks good, let's do it.
Yeah, no. There was a few questions here and there about implementing stuff that we do currently, and can it be done in the new tool? But overall, there wasn't much beyond that.
Yeah. And I guess but that's like the biggest mistake companies use, or they overspend on hardware they never integrate, or software, that they never integrate. Like, it's just mind blowing to think that some people pay for, a couple $1,000s a month, even for insurance platforms that they don't fully understand or use or utilize to the fullest, and they're still paying it. If it's $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. It's a 3-year engagement. I can't do math that quick. That's $36,000. That's a person.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to go back to what KP said to me last week, people get software sometimes to replace a person, or that's the hope, but then it doesn't. You still need a person to run the software, and that's where it fails, I think.
Well, yeah, and I think it becomes a secondary task to someone, like trying to do their job, and learning software is not the time or place.
Then it becomes kind of left behind because it's not the core part of their job. It's a secondary thing now. So now it's even further behind as if even if they had started it up normally.
Yeah. Do you think that adoption to new software fails because people are stuck in their ways, though? Like if you're swinging over, we're going from one platform to the other. I mean, we're small enough. We won't have holdouts. But people make that mistake or have those issues where they're like, I know how to do it this way, and this is the way it's going to be done.
Yeah, of course. I mean, change is some people can be very resistant to change when it comes to their workflow, because once you've established a workflow, it's very hard to move away from it.
And I think the complexity of modern day applications are not doing us any good.
Yeah, with all their bells and whistles, they can be a bit tough to break into.
Yeah, you may get a software to utilize one particular part of it, but there's 10 times the amount of things that it can do that you don't even use, but you're paying for. So, I mean, is the value of that one thing you're going to use it for worth it?
Well, I think from a business owner's aspect, it's very appealing to see like, hey, I can spend $1,000 a month on this CRM that does marketing, blah, 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 blah. But you forget that somebody has to write the emails that you're going to send out to your prospects. Somebody has to set it all up in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So as you think like, hey, this could replace somebody, it's ultimately more work for the person implementing it or trying to use it. Because that's what we've just gone through. Like we're switching CRMs, we're switching service desk ticketing system. Like we're doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we really are. But it needed to be done because people weren't utilizing the other ones we had either. So condensing and changing to things that are more efficient was necessary.
Well, and the way I looked at it too is from a cost standpoint, we're saving a little bit of cheese. We're getting things that we don't currently have in the tool set, and
not really losing much in the tool set.
No, and I think it's time. We've been on that platform for almost 7 years, 6 years, and nothing has really changed that improved our lives other than the cost going up every year, it seems like.
Yeah, we haven't really implemented much in it. Like there's not really many changes that have been suggested to improve it overall.
Do you think that the new shiny toy thing is like a thing? Like it's like every time something new happens, or
the
we
flavor of the month?
Yeah, like Bill goes, oh, it's the new shiny thing. And I get it. But do you think that's really kind of an issue too? Is that we're vying for people's attention in an already busy thing? Like this program is now just one of 6 that you use, and it's cool right now, and then in 10 months or whatever, it'll just be like, bah, I'll go back to doing it the way I want to do it.
Yeah, I think it certainly could be. I mean, I think that happens to a lot of small businesses where they have this presentation, they see this new shiny software, and they go, oh, I could do all this. And then 6 months later, kind of like with Asana, where we were like, we're going to use this a lot. And then 6 months later, some people kind of used it. Some people tried to revive it like Madison did.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of gave up on it.
It's near and dear to her heart. She's happy that you said
Even
that.
I realized that it was time for it to go.
I think that it's not like a square peg round hole. Like we used the hell out of it for what it was worth, but I don't think it's there to do what we needed to do.
It was an afterthought to use it for most people. For even myself, it was easier to write something on a sticky note than it was to go in there and check my tasks and check the due dates and use all the features that it had.
The only time I would check is when it sent me an email.
Which was like, Madison assigned you this task.
No, or like, consider updating your projects.
Yeah.
So like just a couple reasons here in this article that I read is that the biggest challenge people have is it's too complicated of software. So we're getting more bang for our buck, essentially, and we're not using half of it. Using too much software, so maybe redundancies in software sets that you're using. Poor training, which we just spoke of, and we will continue to speak of until we fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's something that the 3 of us have always wanted. Not a lot of trying on my part, but you guys have tried like hell to get training done and taken care of. But then you look at the new tool we have, it has an academy that you can get certified in, and they have to do it. So that will be fantastic. Employees flat out not wanting to adapt, which I think is the old dog, new tricks type scenario. Because I know we've worked with agencies that we've been on an agency management platform for like 20 years, and then they switch, and then they have the 2 or 3 CSRs that have been there for 10 years, and they're like, this new one sucks. I don't want to use it. I mean, we've sat through that meeting with people before. So competing for people's attention. So again, here's your new Word, whatever the case is. Here's your new agency management platform and blah, blah, blah. Difficulties in educating customers and bad support. So I guess more training issues.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Our biggest thing with this new software that we're going to is that it's going to be pretty much based around a CRM, where right now we are based around our ticketing system and our knowledge-based system, where I think the core of a customer service-based managed services provider needs to be a CRM.
Oh, it has to be the sales aspect and prospecting of it all.
Yeah, because we have our clients' information in like 3 different software programs that we use, and we need it to be in one centralized location that integrates well with everything.
So before we go, 2 questions, but you're right. I'm sorry that I just stepped all over that thought. It does need to be the center of the focus of any organization, needs to be that, like that platform, whatever you're using. And I don't know if that's predominantly been the issue, because we have I use different platforms in the service desk. You use different platforms in the service desk, and the service desk uses whatever, well, they've used a different platform. I was going to say whatever they want, but that's not true. Do you guys have an example of a software, maybe here, maybe elsewhere, that we used for a little bit here or there, and that stopped because of bad adoption?
A software we use that stopped because of bad.
Yeah, like we installed software and we're just like, not getting it, see ya. And we stopped. I mean, I guess we just did it with 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
PagerDuty?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's
KP
true.
could probably go on and on about
long,
that.
Long live PagerDuty.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
PagerDuty.
RIP PagerDuty.
Long live. I'm bringing it back.
That one was
No.
rough to try and implement.
Again, though, was it rough because of the software, or is it rough because of the users?
It was a mix. The software was very specific in how it wanted to work, but we wanted it to work one way. And it was also kind of a user problem of people not actually using PagerDuty the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't integrate like two-way, did it? It was just one way?
I think we got it to work where you could update a ticket. It would update the page. I think if you closed the ticket, it would close the page. But if you close the page, it wouldn't close the ticket. It was kind of weird.
Okay, yeah.
That's why it didn't
That sounds
work.
complicated.
Super complicated. So you're sitting in a room. I'll give you a scenario. You're a consultant to a small business. This small business is a startup. What is the first software that you're going to tell them that they need to get, and why?
What kind of startup?
Let's say it's an insurance company,
Insurance company?
professional services, accounting even. They're all kind of the same stack.
Can it be a package? A software package?
Sure.
Are you asking KP or
Both.
or me?
I'm going to tune in too. So the 3 of us are going to give our takes. This is going to be the juicy takeaway from the podcast.
I would do just Office 365 Business Enterprise or whatever that is, the one that includes all the planner, tasks, bookings. What are the other ones? Flow?
Dynamic.
Sway.
Yeah, all of those.
Okay.
Office 365 is a pretty good one.
Stole it.
I don't know. I think with the way we're moving more and more towards cloud-based services, I think some of them are pretty good overall for our, I guess since we're doing it generically, man, I don't know.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go.
So since we've done this, I've already started a company with Bill, and we tried to figure out what we needed. I'm going to say a CRM, right? Like a basic CRM, whether it's Fresh Sales, HubSpot, something to keep track of the important information that you're probably going to forget when you write it down in your spiral-bound notebook, and then the tool set that you need to do the job. So if you have a CRM, or maybe you buy a tool set or a package that has the CRM built into it, something that can track all that client information that you're not going to keep track of.
Mm-hmm. What about security though? Like Duo, would that be pretty important?
No. I don't think as a startup or a small business trying to
no.
get into the, like, trying to figure out where you want to go, I don't think software is something you worry about right now.
Okay.
I mean, you just technically would be like strong passwords, have all the good security hygiene you can possibly
without
have.
a software.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Up to date. Make sure you're not running like
Windows 98.
Yeah, stuff like that.
QuickBooks. Because you can use QuickBooks Online as a CRM now, I think. It's got all your customer information on it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing would be something accounting-wise, QuickBooks, Sage, so you can actually pay your employees. I think that's probably decently important.
Well, if you're a startup, you probably only got one buddy doing it. You know what I mean? You don't got to worry about paying them.
Yeah, but if you're a startup, maybe you're thinking that you're eventually going to get there. It's probably better to start off on a solid footing with that. So
when we started, Bill used Sage Business. No, not Sage BusinessWorks. Peachtree.
Yeah, which eventually became Sage.
Yeah, so it was a monster of a software that we only used like payroll and inventory out of. It was crazy. But we've made all these mistakes. We're still making these mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a small business that fortunately we're agile enough to see the mistakes and move. Could you imagine if we didn't?
No, I don't.
You know what I mean?
We wouldn't be able to.
There's a lot of companies, though, that were like, oh, Asana works, we're going to keep it. Harvest works, we're going to keep it. And then it correlates to jack shit.
But it's expensive. I mean, not expensive if you're using it, but it's expensive if you're not using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think about, for the 2-3 years we've paid for it,
yeah.
we weren't using it to the fullest. And it was just kind of one of those things that we had to do an audit on. I sat down and did an audit on the software, started asking people, like, are we doing this? Are these reports that we're getting from Harvest worth it? And they're not, because the individuals entering time were like, yeah, I spent 10 minutes on that. 10 minutes even, 5 minutes even, 2 minutes even, 3 minutes even. And life's just not like even numbers.
Yeah.
So that last crew that came through, they were born into it. So it was easy. It became second nature. And then it's not second nature anymore. So that goes back to bad training. So if you had to really look at it, it was bad training, overuse of software, trying to do too much with, not enough with each software, I guess. Because we could do timekeeping in Zendesk, but we didn't. We chose to use Harvest because it integrated with our BI tool, which we just left because we don't need a BI tool if we don't have anything that integrates to it. So I think every small business should do an audit on the software they're using to see how much they're using them, to see if it makes sense to continue paying for them, because we probably soaked up $10,000 in software we weren't using.
Definitely.
So anything else before we leave when it comes down to software? Antivirus. You need antivirus. That's software.
I don't have anything else.
Well, thanks for listening to the Geek Freaks podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, and YouTube, and all other platforms. If you like this episode, please write a comment and review. Talk to you next week.
See ya.
Don't do it.
Say bye, KP.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say
or
it.
just shake your head.